Stu here for Mobile Geeks, and right now we're taking a look at the UMI X1-Pro, which is a very affordable kind of $100 US. We got this for I think 77 euros online from a retailer called eFox, and it's a 4.7-inch Android phone running on MediaTek. So it's a very, very affordable phone. It's an example of one of the more affordable phones coming out of China right now. So let's get quick into the box. You see it's a very simple kind of package involving a USB. This is the European USB charger and also a USB cable. Here's the phone. It's nice to see that they've also added a screen protector here. Nice touch. Okay, let's just get straight to the phone. So yeah, 4.7-inch handset. The first thing that strikes me is the finish on the back. It's actually quite attractive. You've got this kind of like pixelated square kind of, these little tiny squares, can you see them? They look quite nice, so it adds a little bit of class to the design. You've got a 5-megapixel camera here, plus an LED flash. Here we've got the X1 logoage. Pro at the bottom says the X1 Pro from UMI. Unusually, we don't actually have the UMI logo here. Controversially, UMI are kind of copying Xiaomi a little bit. If I just quickly show you here, this UMI logo on the screen lock, you can kind of see that it very much borrows from the Xiaomi logo. They're very similar indeed. Anyway, I'm not sure what kind of shenanigans are going on there. The companies are not connected, but UMI is a reasonably significant player in China. So, okay, Android 4.2.2, running on MediaTek the NT6582, which is a 1.3 gigahertz processor backed by 1 gigabyte of RAM. The screen is quite impressive. It's a 720p, so 1280 by 720. It's an IPS LED, and as you can see, it looks really nice. You see the viewing angles are actually very impressive. In terms of design and build quality, actually the device feels very good and solid in the hand. You've got a power button here on the side. The camera sticks up a little bit, which is not something I'm overly keen on, because it kind of means that there's more contact with the camera when it's touching the table when you put it down. But yeah, I think having the volume rocker here on the left side is okay. You've got a power button here. Slightly unusually, you have the USB and headphone socket and jack at the top here, which is slightly odd. You've also got hardware buttons here, which helps us to navigate around Android 4.2. But I think, yeah, straight away the display is definitely one of the highlights of this device. It's not heavy. It's, what, 156 grams? So it's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest, and it's 9.3 millimeters thick. So I think the two things that I would say straight away, having used this phone for best part of a week, is that the display is really pretty good quality. The only time it kind of struggles is in very bright light situations, but even then it still tends to do quite well. We can go in here, we can look at our brightness settings, just to make sure we have our brightness on full right now. Oh, so no, we can go a bit further. There you go. So as you can see, it's actually pretty decent. Let's just zoom in on this guy. Yeah, you can see that that's, I mean, it's not quite on the quality that we've seen on the high-end Samsung and Sony devices and their screens, but, you know, it's really quite astounding just how good the quality is in this screen for the price of it. Definitely one of the highlights of the device. So how does the UMI X1-Pro shape up in terms of raw performance? Well, we ran a bunch of benchmarks, and as we kind of expected, actually, the MediaTek chip is the MT6582. It's a quad-core, it's not the octa-core, and it's some way off the octa-core performance, and it's also a long way off what we're seeing with the high-end Snapdragon processors from Qualcomm. But having said that, Android 4.2 Jelly Bean runs really quite slickly and without too many issues. Although, every once in a while, if we just have a look at some of these transitions, you can see here we're in the this is our app drawer. Here we have our widgets. Let's go back. So it's doing things pretty well, but just watch this. Did you see that there's a slight lagginess every once in a while? Having said that, you can still play games. You just might have to turn the settings down a little bit. And if we open and close a few apps, Let's have a look. Okay, let's run CPU Z. You can see that the MediaTek core, you got all 4 cores going here. But everything's pretty slick. I mean, all of the apps that we've used on this phone, and I've used it for quite a few days now, it works really well. So in terms of performance, don't have any issues, but then again, it's not going to win you any kind of performance awards anytime soon. Internally, you're only getting 3 gigabytes of storage. This is one of the major issues I would have with the device. If we go into settings and then take a look at storage, you can see here that we have a total of almost a gig here, and then we have a total of almost 2 gigs there. So yeah, the whole device only has 3 gigabytes of storage, which I think is pretty damn scrimpy. Although having said that, you do have support for micro SD behind this cover here. I might also add that the battery life is pretty good. You're getting a 2000 milliamp hour battery, and I've used it for a whole day. Where are we now? 84%. Yeah, I mean, I've been using this already. It was on a full charge just an hour or so ago, and I've been opening apps, I've been doing things, we've been even running some benchmarks, and the battery has not drained completely as we have seen before on some of the cheaper devices coming out of China. So in terms of software, it's Android 4.2. This is, I guess, largely restricted by the MediaTek processor. Currently, MediaTek aren't supporting 4.4 KitKat on all of their processors. So here we're stuck on 2. If I pull down the right-hand side, you can see I have my notifications. I can then click here, and we can get our quick access to several other. This is vanilla Android. This is exactly as you've seen 1,000 times before on a lot of Android devices. You see, you've got regular apps here. You've got calculator. You've got your camera app, FM radio, file manager, email, calendar. This is the same calendar I've seen on most vanilla Android devices. But overall, I don't have a problem with it. I think the software is it's pretty slick, it's pretty basic, but that's kind of the way I like it. I don't like being pushed into an ecosystem, as some of the larger vendors try their best to do so. And we get everything, all the important stuff like Play Store, Gmail, and the apps that you actually need are already here and installed. So I think UMI are doing a very good job on the software side. When it comes to cameras, though, the same cannot really be said. We just look at some shots that I kind of like the way you can swipe from gallery. Yeah, it's kind of the same as Cyanogen and a lot of other vanilla Android installs. So here you can see, this is a photo I took just outside in the park a few days ago, and it does kind of look a little bit pixelated, especially when you get in there in the detail. In fact, I mean, this one here, yeah, if you get the right light and the right conditions, you can take a half decent photo. This is not too bad. Again, this was a nice bright sunny day, so perhaps that makes the job for the camera a little bit easier. Here you can see that it's just kind of washed out. This is not going well at all. And when it comes to the selfie cam, let's have a look. We did take, oh, there's me. You can see that this handsome fella here, let's get into the details. Yeah, there's hardly any definition there. It's just a blur. So yeah, 5 megapixel on the back is borderline useful, I guess. The LED is not the flash here is not very strong, but to be honest, the selfie camera right here, which is a 0.3 megapixel, is next to useless. I mean, I just would never, I used it a few times, and I'm thinking that reminds me of how cameras used to be back in the day on phones. I just wouldn't bother with it, and it kind of makes me think, you know, if you're really trying to save on money, why don't you just skip this? Yeah. Okay, let's look at audio performance. So, let me play a song here. Wow, boom. Okay, that is full blast. But yeah, it has some kick. It definitely has some teeth. And this is all coming from this speaker placed right down here at the bottom. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's not bassy. Yeah, so I think in terms of audio, I would say that, yeah, it's doing a reasonably good job. Right, so in conclusion, the UMI X1-Pro, I would have to say for the price that this is really quite impressive. And the highlights for me you have a pretty slick Android user experience. It's a nice vanilla kind of, almost similar to Cyanogen in some respects. The display is also another highlight. I really like the display, and I think, just generally speaking, the build quality also is totally solid. The power buttons, do I prefer? Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind if the volume rocker's on the left-hand side. I can deal with that. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing about the design or build which I don't like. There's nothing here which is going to put me off and say, oh, why did they do that? No, I think everything's in a place that I can accept. And in general, 156 grams, it feels pretty good in the hand. It feels solidly built. Yeah, I think for $105, I would definitely recommend, at this price point, if you're looking for a 4.7-inch Android phone, the UMI X1-Pro would be a very good choice. This is Stu from Mobile Geeks. If you like more of this stuff, remember to subscribe in the link below.